the emotional is hard for me because I struggle with my emotions, and what I'm feeling and how I'm dealing with things. And so it's like if I'm struggling with my emotions, how the heck am I going to help my kids, manage theirs? So I feel like at least these past few years since I've been in counseling and stuff, like I'm learning right alongside the girls. So yeah.
I think that's that's what came to my mind when you were saying that, is like, because you're learning with them and trying to think like, how do I manage my emotions? They're feeling the exact same way. So like you're able to connect and communicate that of like,
Yeah.
hey, it's normal to have these kind of feelings that you don't know what to do with, and it makes you feel bad for no reason, or you can't figure it out, or whatever it is, so that they don't feel like there's something wrong with them, or like that it's wrong to feel that way, if that makes sense. Because I think that's how a lot of people that's the place a lot of people end up getting to by default, because maybe their parents don't engage with them that way. Maybe their parents haven't gotten there yet, and so they unknowingly put their kids into like a place to where they feel like they can't go to them. Welcome to another episode of the Made to Be Great podcast, where we have conversations that spark growth. Today, I have my absolute favorite guest returning, my beautiful bride, Jess. Thanks for coming back to the show.
Hey, I was requested.
You were
times.
requested. Yeah, a lot of the viewers wanted you back.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, where you
I thought
been?
I'd make another appearance.
And here we are.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing. So what's been going on since the last episode we recorded? Do you want to catch people up on what's been going on in our world? It's been a lot going on.
I don't remember how long it's been, but it's been a while.
It's been a few months at least, I think.
But we're in the thick, well, I should say close to the end of the senior stuff.
Yeah.
With Juliana. And it's been interesting.
For parents who haven't got there yet, there's an increasing intensity of to-dos that happens, it feels like. And then there's like an emotional component to it. That's like
I was more leaning towards the emotional component. I thought that I'd be a little bit more emotional at this point. I've had little waves of it, but I think I'm still in the denial stage. So graduation day might be rough.
Yeah. I've been feeling a lot of grief and like time shrinkage.
Yeah. She's just, in my opinion, I feel like she's so ready that it doesn't feel like this, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Like she's going to, like, I just feel like she's ready. And so just like feels like the next stage. But yet then there's the whole, wait a minute, where did my baby go? Like how are we here already? I have a friend that today is her daughter's 9-year-old birthday. And I was like, oh, you're halfway there. Mine just turned 18. I remember when she turned 9.
What'd she say to that?
She was like, no, don't tell me that. Like,
it seems so far off when they're 9, though.
Well,
and then you blink and they're 18. People told us this, but I didn't believe it.
I feel like each year just goes by faster. You think, and
you think you have time.
You do think you have time.
And then you realize time speeds up, it feels like.
Yep. And Jordan and Jenna have been keeping us busy too. And all the girls were just in the Joseph show, which was amazing to see them all on stage together. They all love to dance, which besides a love for the Lord, that's the only thing they have in common. They all like to dance. So it was pretty neat to see them all do that together in Julie's last show. So I really enjoyed it. Got a little teary-eyed a few times. Yeah, it was special.
It was. They got emotional too. All the girls, I think, did.
Yeah,
Julie and
I think
Jordan
so.
and Jenna.
And Jenna,
they're gonna hate us for like talking about all this probably, but it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Jenna, I think, has caught the theater bug now too. So we'll see where that goes. She wants to do it like Julie.
That we will.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Anything else?
I don't think so. I just
those are the highlights.
I'm just exhausted emotionally. which is pretty typical of raising teenagers. Jenna's almost a teenager, already acts like one.
Yeah, people like when you have little ones, I feel like we've talked about this, you're more tired physically,
Yeah.
and as they get older, it goes more to emotional
Mhm.
versus physical because they can kind of like take care of themselves physically for the most part, but there's more of an emotional, there should be, I
Yeah.
think, more emotional investment made
Yeah.
to the
Well, when
kids,
they're little, like, you're chasing them, you're changing their diapers, you're making their food, you're constantly, like, moving and doing things, and then as they're older, it's more they wanna have, um, late night talks when you're exhausted.
which I learned on somewhere, some research that that's like when teenagers get like their burst of energy and they
Uh-huh.
want to like engage and
And I'm a night owl, but, that's still rough for me sometimes to have to talk at, like, midnight, 1 in the morning,
yeah.
but I do
And then I
think
remember that I'm thankful that they want to talk to us,
yeah, and
because
that's what I was gonna say is I think you know, a lot of people say like, "Oh, wait till they're teenagers, just wait till they're teenagers," and I really have hated that. Like even I see in my post, like my Facebook memory posts when the girls were little and I would say something silly like, "Oh, they did this, they did that." I'm like, "Oh, wait till they're a teenager." And I always just hated that phrase because I feel like people gave such a negative like of the teenage years that like I was like on the edge of my seat like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do when they become teenagers?" Because they tell you like, "Oh, just wait," but they don't really tell you what you're waiting for.
yeah,
So
they're like
I'm
brace
like
for impact, but we're
like
not going to say what that is.
right, and I think what it is the emotional,
Mm,
strain because I really think a lot of parents don't step into that
true. Which
as
is weird because then like, what's the big deal? Like, what are they?
well, because when you
Because
like, the way that we've been trying to parent the girls is, um, when they're angry with us or mad at us or, like, frustrated, instead of being like, "Okay, well, you go over there with that." We kinda lean into them, like, "What's wrong? What's happening? What's going on?" Like, we try to lean into that and kinda ask them, "Why are you acting this way? Why are you talking to us like this? Why are what's with the attitude? Why" and with girls, obviously, the hormones are, like, I feel like I mean, we don't have sons, but I know girls' hormones, like, 10 times worse, so they can just sometimes just be irritable because they're irritable, but a lot of times their attitudes, I feel like there's something else there, and we can find out, and they'll be like, "Yeah, well, today at school, so and so." Or, "I'm actually really worried because I have these tests coming up." Like, there's usually something behind that, and so I feel like a lot of parents, when they say that, at least what I'm getting, is that they don't like the attitude that they get, and
mm,
that a lot of teenagers, like, pull away from their parents and don't share with them and keep stuff from them, and so really all the parents are getting at that point is a kid that's, like, basically withdrawn from them and, like, doesn't wanna be around them, doesn't wanna talk to them, and it's because they think their parents don't understand them, which is hilarious because 'cause we've all been there. Um, and so that's what I think, like, that's my best guess, I don't know what you
yeah.
think, but it's in my opinion, it's a lot harder than the physical. Like, maybe some people think it's easier, I'm not because everybody has a different take and personality, and I think some parents, the emotional aspect of parenting might come easier to them than the physical, but I'd take the physical any day. Go back to the toddler days any day, even though it was exhausting, because the emotional is hard for me because I struggle with my emotions, and what I'm feeling and how I'm dealing with things, and so it's like if I'm struggling with my emotions, how the heck am I gonna help my kids, manage theirs? So I feel like at least these past few years since I've been in counseling and stuff, like I'm learning right alongside the girls. So, yeah.
I think that's the how. That's what came to my mind when you were saying that is like because you're learning with them and trying to think like, how do I manage my emotions? They're feeling the exact same way. So like you're able to connect and communicate that of like,
Yeah.
hey, it's normal to have these kind of feelings that you don't know what to do with, and it makes you feel bad for no reason, or you can't figure it out, or whatever it is, so that they don't feel like there's something wrong with them, or like that it's wrong to feel that way, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think that's how a lot of people end up, that's the place a lot of people end up getting to by default, because
Mhm.
maybe their parents don't engage with them that way. Maybe their parents haven't gotten there yet. And so they don't, they unknowingly put their kids into like a place to where they feel like they can't go to them because the parents just don't have the tools to, they haven't learned how to do it themselves.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say that there isn't times that the girls come to me and I'm like, "I have no idea how to deal with this." And it's like, and sometimes I'm just honest with the girls and I'm like, "That's really hard. I'm not really sure what I would do in that situation because I think just letting our kids know that, like, we don't have all the answers is
Yeah.
great."
I've told the girls more than once, like, adults are pretending to know what they're doing. Like,
Mhm.
we really don't know either.
And we
Like, a lot of the
still
times.
we still make mistakes. We don't have it all together, and,
Yeah.
like, speaking of adult, Julie's probably gonna get upset, but she
Mm.
doesn't wanna be one.
I told her, "Don't grow up, man. Like, growing up is a
Yeah,
trap. Like, you can
she just
be a kid at heart for as long as you can."
officially became an adult a few weeks ago, and I think it hit her harder than I think she expected it to. Um She I thinks I that I'm not sure where she got it or if it's just part of her personality, but she just thinks that, like, "Okay, I'm an adult now, like, I can't be a kid anymore. I can't have fun. I have all this responsibility. I have to do this, this, and this," and she has, like, this, um, mentality that basically, like, there's no time for fun anymore. There's too much, and I tried to tell her, "Girl, I go to Disney, I go to the beach, and, like, you gotta fill in the fun times and do fun things because if you don't, you're gonna get burnt out." I said, "Yeah, you're an adult, you're gonna have some responsibilities, you're gonna have some things you have to do," but, like, she's still in a growing phase. Just because she's technically an adult doesn't mean, like, she's got it all together. But, yeah, that's been interesting aspect to help her navigate because 'cause I'm like, I don't know, I remember being excited to be an adult, but I don't remember
Yeah,
that
me too.
I stopped having fun. I thought it got more fun.
I think I don't know if this is everyone's situation
Mhm.
based on maybe where their kids go to school or what other influences they have around, but I don't remember so much emphasis being put on being, like, a stern and grown up professional adult, like, right when you turn 18 and, like, have all these responsibilities and all these, like, serious things. I don't remember so much being put on us when
You
we
mean
were
with,
that
like,
age.
all the classes and, like, having 2 years of college done before you even leave high
Yes.
school? I don't
Yeah, like, so much AP and dual enrollment and so much early emphasis in high school about where you're gonna go to college, what you're gonna study. Like, there's a lot of things that I think with a good intention of, like, preparing kids for the future, it can come off like so much serious adult stuff that, like, they feel like they can't be a kid and have fun. Like, I've heard not even our kids say this, but other kids, like, um, like, I have to be serious. I have to, like, know my career. I have to, like, figure the rest of my life out, and I'm 15 years old. Like, it's just weird
I
to
don't
me that.
remember it being like that.
Yeah,
I don't I remember there being it available, but I don't
yeah.
remember it being, like, what every
So
kid
much
did.
pushed. Yeah,
Like,
that's true. A lot
and
less kids, I think, did it then
and
too.
and and, you know, our girls go to private school, so and they go to a pretty prestigious, like, education or whatever, but I still hear about it in the public
Yeah,
school. It's still pushed
yeah,
there, like, they want the kids taking all the APs, all the dual enrollments, they want them finishing at least a year of college before they get out of high school, and it's like by the time they get to college, they've already done college
yeah.
in high
And
school.
then they lost out on, like, those carefree moments, which you can't really
I
replicate.
think it's a lot of pressure and unnecessary. Now, are there kids that really want that and, like, are striving for that and wanna keep doing that? Great. keep going, but, like, I feel like I've tried to tell the girls, like, there's no reason to you don't
You don't have to
have
rush
to,
this just because someone else
you
feels like it's
know?
a good idea.
Like, Jordan, like, you know, I don't think we're gonna tell her school this, but, she might not go to college. I do still think she has this pressure
Mhm.
that, like, "No, no, I have to go to college." Like, everybody goes to college, and all of her friends are like, "What do you mean? You have to go to college?" And she might still go to college, but she is our adventurer, and she wants to, like, see the world, and she loves to dance, and she right now, her dream is to be a dancer on a cruise ship, and I'm like, "You go. Go do your dance on a cruise ship." Like,
The
why am
best
I
time
gonna
to do that
crush
is
your
when you're
dream?
young. I mean, things like that, those are things that's a great example of something that's, like, pretty easy to do when you're not married and don't have kids.
Yep. Mhm.
Once you get one or both of those things, like, the execution of that is so much harder.
She's got
Um,
plenty of time to settle down
yeah.
and go back to school if she really wants to, but I mean, these days, there's so many things you can do without going to college. I'm not against college. I do think there's a purpose for it in some stages. Like Julie's going because she wants to be a worship pastor and she has a lot to learn still about music. She hasn't been doing it her whole life. She hasn't been like, and she still has a lot to learn about it. And so she wants to learn all ins and outs of it. She wants to learn guitar more. She wants to learn piano more and her vocals. Like she has a lot to learn still. So for her, it just makes sense,
Yeah.
to do that because that's the path that she's on and that's where she wants to go. But um, I hear these kids that are like, "Oh, I'm going to college. Well, what are you going to major in?" Well, I don't know. I guess business. Why the heck are you going to college if you don't know what you're
Yeah, I
doing?
was in the pre-show of the last guest, I was saying, like, I think we have 15 people
Yep.
on the roll here,
Mm-hmm.
and I have asked exactly 0 of them where they went to school, what their GPA was, what their degree is in.
Mm-hmm.
I literally don't care. It doesn't matter to my business. Now, if you're gonna be a nurse
Right.
or a lawyer or a doctor, those are different circumstances, but that's the vast minority of people, I think, choosing college today as an automatic path,
Yeah.
and I think that it would be nice to see some societal shifts away because the reality of the economics of a college degree isn't what it used to be a generation or 2
No.
ago or even 10 years ago.
No.
The cost versus what you really get versus what could you really get out there
Depends
in
on
the
what you're
world.
gonna do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But
Like
for most to my point, to most what most people end up doing,
right.
the exceptions to that would be a handful of careers, maybe engineering,
Mhm.
CPA. I think you need a master's degree now,
Mhm.
nurse, doctor,
Counselor.
lawyer,
Yep.
counselor. Like there's certain select careers where you have to go. Um, but there's the vast majority of the
Yeah.
workforce out there that it's questionable what the real value is of it. So it's crazy to me that that's still such a societal
Mhm.
expectation of like this is just the next thing that you do. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how the economics of that changes if more people decide to opt out or delay um, going. So I don't know. We'll
I
see.
mean, I have a 4-year degree, but I also got a free ride.
Yeah.
It was all paid for. So, even though I don't use my degree, my degree's in psychology. If I wanted to do anything with that, I would have had to get a master's, and I was not going to get my master's. At one time, I said I would. I was like, "No, I don't want to." So, you know, I paid, like it was all paid for. So, like, I don't have that debt, and I can say I have my 4-year degree, you know? So, like, I can't like, if, you wanna go and you wanna have a degree just to say, "Hey, I finished my degree," I don't but if you're gonna go in massive debt for it, and
Which
then
a lot of
you
people are doing.
then you get out and you get into I cannot tell you how many people I know that they get out, they get into their business, and then they're like, a year or 2 in, like, "I don't wanna do this anymore."
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean you don't wanna do this anymore? You just went to college for 4 years or 6 years if you got your master's and you don't wanna do this anymore? Like that, like, I know it happens, but, like, that blows my mind. Yeah. I feel like we have tried when the girls were little, I was pretty hard on them with their studies, like if they came home with a bad grade, I'd ream in pretty hard on
This is a
them.
great segue into parenting stuff
Yeah.
because my saying, what came to me when you said that,
Oh God,
my saying,
I hate their
it's
saying.
factually accurate. C's get degrees, baby. C's get degrees.
But you didn't get C's.
No, I didn't. But I wish somebody would have told me that. That's my point in saying that is like I spent all that energy to get an A and like the benefit of that 10 years down the road, like good luck mapping that,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Looks cute at the time,
Yep.
but what did you give up to
Yeah. I
get that
mean,
A?
the girls' grades don't even start counting until high school,
Yeah.
and I was reaming into them in elementary school. Like, gotta get this. You
So
gotta
what
so.
advice would you give a mom of an elementary schooler today that really cares about their
Oh, well,
kids?
my new theme, yours is C's get degrees,
Yeah.
is did you do your best?
Yeah. I love
Did you
that.
do
We
your
started
best?
telling the girls that
And
your best is you don't
enough.
remember? Good enough.
Yeah.
Your bad we used to, like,
Your
make them
best is good
say
enough.
that. Your
Yeah.
best is good
Well,
enough because there's
Julie, I feel
so
like,
much
has been the
pressure
hardest because, well, all three girls are perfectionists in some
yeah,
way, shape, or form because
with different things.
both
Yeah.
of their parents are.
Mm. They were cooked from the start.
But, Julie, I feel like, is the hardest because I stopped doing it when she was older, and
Yeah.
so she's really hard on herself. And she still will tell me like, "Oh, I didn't do good on this test, so I didn't do good on that test." And I'm like, "But did you do your best? Did you study?" Because there are times where they'll be like, "Well, no, I probably could have studied better, or I didn't." And then I'm like, "Okay, well, next time you need to study better. You need to do better. That's fine." Like
Also,
I don't come down hard on them if they admit to me that they didn't do well, but most of the time they
they did.
did study, and
And
it's just a hard test.
the other thing that I have maybe more recently started emphasizing, maybe the last 5 years or so, is that your best is a moving target. Like, it might be different on Tuesday than it is on
Yeah.
Friday, because maybe on Tuesday, your best friend went through something horrible and you walked through them with that, and, like, you're super distracted and sad, and so maybe your best
Mhm.
on Tuesday was a 3 out of 10,
Yeah.
but your best on Thursday might be a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And so I think there's like this linear expectation of like your best means your maximum possible effort, but
Right.
like stuff
I agree with
happens
that.
to
Yeah.
you that like your best isn't maybe your absolute maximum capability on any given day.
Mhm.
It moves. So like maybe that was their best
Yeah.
that day, even it wasn't their max best possible. Does that make sense?
Mhm. But we haven't always I totally agree with you with this now, but we didn't always agree on this.
That's true.
I have always had this mentality that you gotta
Your best is perfection.
yeah, you gotta push harder.
Yeah.
Like, you can get the A, and
And I think that's true. But what I have always considered is yes, but what's the cost and is it worth it?
right, well, and the cost that I'm seeing now as the girls get older is seeing how hard they are on themselves. Like,
Yeah.
Julie and Jordan, I mean, and Jenna, but I see it less in Jenna because we started, when she might be the kid that comes out on the other end that doesn't need as much therapy as the other 2.
All 3 of our kids are gonna hate us if they watch this episode, but it's fine. We love
But
you guys.
I wasn't always for therapy. I wasn't always for going to counseling.
I most definitely wasn't.
And even though I wanted to be a counselor at one time, but that's because I had it all together.
Of course.
So if I had it all together, then I
What's
could
the
counsel
need?
other people.
Yeah, for
That's what
sure.
I always thought of the counselors. I'm like, they don't need counseling because they know, like, anyways. But but now I've learned that, like, I think every single person can get something good out of counseling. Like, everybody has something that they can work on, that they can improve on, that they can dig into, that they can, like, and so, you know, I feel like it's been very helpful to the girls at different phases. They're
Yeah.
not like consistently in counseling, but when they're going through something or struggling with something, we're like, "Hey," and you and I are like with Jordan when she was 10 or 11 during COVID, um
Social butterfly
social
child.
butterfly, thank you, that's what I was trying to think of. Our social butterfly was struggling, and she got to the point where she was just in a really bad place mentally. We were like, "We don't know what to do. Like, we can't handle this. This is getting way out of hand." And that's when we were like, "We gotta get her some help," you know? And I think that it made all the difference in how she is today, and how she deals with things.
Yeah,
Y
100%.
does she still have struggles? Absolutely. She
But
knows
so
that.
does everyone,
Right, but she
really. I
knows
mean,
that, like, if she needs to go back to counseling, she can go back to counseling, and,
yeah,
but yeah, it's been a challenge to help them while also learning what, you know, how we're
how to help ourselves.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm. The,
That could be a whole other episode, huh?
yeah, um, just you and I haven't always I feel like you have helped me a lot see things from a different perspective because I don't know if it's part of my personality, which I think it is, but also my perfectionism that I just want everything in a row perfect all the time. And I remember even when the girls were little, and I'm sure that there's parents that have done this, is like they spill something, they break something, they don't do something the way you would do it. I would yell, I would scream. Julie would mostly get the brunt of that because she was the oldest child. And I think I looking back, I don't really know why I was like that other than that it was just what it felt like I should do. And so instead of like thinking before I did something, I would just immediately
React.
react.
Yeah.
Um and so it wasn't until I don't remember, it was a few years that I found some book about yelling parenting, like yelling when you're parenting. And I was like, every parent yells. Like, if you don't yell when you're parenting, like, what kind of parent are you? Like, I was convinced that you had to yell if you were a parent. Like, how could you parent if you didn't yell? Like, your kids aren't going to listen if you don't yell. And this book gave me like a different perspective. And I remember even like in the moms groups that
Do you
I was
remember what it
in,
was called?
I don't. I just know it was something about like not yelling. I'd have to look it up. But I just remember like in the moms groups I was in, like, we would share stories and stuff, and I would be like, "Oh, you don't make it. Oh, yeah." And they'd be like, "Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's okay. Oh, but like never at any point when I yelled did I ever apologize to the girls for yelling at them.
Hmm.
Did I ever say, "Hey, mommy lost it. I shouldn't have yelled at you like that. I'm really sorry." And so first I had to learn how to stop yelling. Then I had to learn that when I did yell, because I still to this day yell, I feel like it's pretty rare now, but I still yell because even Julie doesn't flinch when I yell. So, she's used to it. Jordan flinches sometimes, and Jenna always flinches when I yell because she doesn't hear me. She just didn't hear me yell much growing up because she was the youngest. Um, but they know, like, if I'm yelling, like, it's pretty bad. But what I've learned now is when I yell I apologize. I come back later and I admit, like, it wasn't okay for me to yell because in my opinion now, there's never that I can think of a time to yell. There's there's never a time to yell at your child
I heard
because
it from a parenting book or maybe a podcast. I think it was a book about parenting. And it said something like, if you're yelling at your child, you lost.
mm,
Like you already lost whatever you're saying.
they're not hearing you.
You're
Mm-mm.
not like they're not hearing you. You're like dysregulated.
Mhm.
Like whatever's causing that, you already lost. You might as well just
The
back
only
up.
the only thing that I saw that yelling did was put fear in the
Yeah.
girls. Fear. They are very scared of me still, all 3 of them, when I yell. And I hate it. I hate that they feel that. I hate that they get that. But I have had to, like, just to realize that I'm not gonna have it all together all the time. I have to be thankful that I'm not yelling like I used to yell, and that I admit when I'm wrong. I try, I'm not gonna say I do it every time, but I try to always come to the girls and be like, "I'm really sorry that I lost my cool on you today. No, it wasn't good that you did this, this, and this, but it didn't require me screaming and yelling at you." And then I will, relay to them, like, "This is what you could have done better next time if you could do this, this, and this." Because I think the more you yell at your kids, the less they're gonna
I try to
it
think like
doesn't.
when someone's yelling at me, what am I thinking? I'm not thinking they're making some really great points. Let me take notes and try to implement this. That
Mhm.
no one is there,
No.
right? You're like getting defensive or firing back. Like it's not a rational
Right.
headspace to be in.
Yeah. I think that it just, there um there's no parenting handbook. Like, is there books out there about parenting? Yes. Is there podcasts out there about parenting? Yes. But I don't think everybody knows exactly how to parent, like, in the perfect way. Like, okay, if you do this, this, and this, your kids are going to turn out like this because you can look at the parents that were like, well, we did all this and this still happened to him, or we did all this and this still happened to her. Like every kid is different. And so you have to kind of like I had to learn that I can't parent Julie the same way I parent Jordan. That was that because they are complete opposites. Um, and they react differently when to certain things. So I've had to learn how
Same
they set.
principle, different execution or implementation
Yeah. Hmm.
based on the kid's personality.
Julie tends to keep everything inside, keep all of her emotions inside.
Mm.
She so like, you might think that she's hearing you and she's just internalizing everything and not really sharing with you how she really feels. Whereas Jordan, she'll let you know right then and there how she feels. And sometimes she's disrespectful in the way that she comes across when she shares that.
Yeah.
And we've had to like say to her, like, it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to be upset, but you can't talk to us like this. You can't talk to us like that. Like, and
And giving them space to say, like, it's okay to be sad.
mhm,
It's okay to be sad, but you don't need to lash out at people.
right,
But you also don't have to hide the fact that you're sad.
right. And that was really hard when Jordan
That's
was,
a nuance. That's a tough, like, space to land in.
yeah.
So we're not perfect at that all the time, but I think that's where we're generally trying to,
Well,
yeah,
because even as I'm not going to say my exact age, but as a woman in her 40s,
29 -ish.
I want to be able to scream and yell and shout and throw a temper tantrum sometimes, but everybody looks at me like I'm crazy. Like, why can't I do that? So I've tried to help the girls, like, it's okay to be upset, but let's take it down a notch. Let's, like, how else can we deal with this? Like, give it a moment.
Mhm.
I remember when Jordan was little, her counselor was like, "Yell into a pillow," because when they're young, they really struggle with, like, figuring out, like, how to manage their emotions, but honestly, there's a lot of adults that still don't know how to manage their emotions. I was one of them, and so I'm having to learn, like, what
Well,
tactics.
because we were taught mostly this was popular parenting when our parents were parenting
Mhm.
was just to shut down like
Yeah.
a negative
Go to your
emotional
room.
reaction,
When
go to
you're
your
done
room.
crying, you can come out. Yeah.
So that's like what pop
Right.
culture was
Right.
telling
And
parents to do at that time.
not to down on, you
No, I
know
mean, that's just that was the
I
popular.
know my parents did the best they could with what they knew at the
Mhm.
time, so it's, like, not to
Same.
down that, but, like, that was just what was taught, that was what was known, and so I don't feel like my emotion I ever knew, like, how to handle them. I was just kinda told, like, "Figure it out."
You originally, I think, connected me to this author and speaker and podcaster, Deborah Fileta,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, on her Instagram, I think yesterday this came up in my feed that was something about crying.
Mhm.
And it was something that from her book, Are You Really Okay? Another free plug, you're welcome.
Mhm.
And it said that crying, when you cry, it's like your body recalibrating. Like you're overwhelmed
Mhm.
and you don't know what to do anymore. And crying is like you're not losing it, is
Yeah.
what it was basically saying, is like this is your body like physically recalibrating and letting out those thoughts and feelings that you're just feeling overwhelmed by.
Mhm.
And a lot of times what made me think of that is like previous generation, like popular parenting was like to shut that down
Right.
versus now what we're learning is that they actually need that. They actually like that's part of them being able to like re-regulate themselves. And if we shut it down, then they can't do it. And that's when they get into
Right, but, like, even as adults, like, how often do you cry?
I might cry after this podcast. No, I'm kidding.
But, like,
Not often, but
not
I
that we
do
have
feel,
boys, but I do feel like there's a thing more for boys than
yeah.
girls,
I
that
will say though,
crying
I've
isn't
been
allowed.
much more in tune with my feelings and emotions since
Mhm,
we started. I'm sure you
absolutely.
remember when we first started going to counseling together.
I wasn't gonna say this.
I was like, she's like, "How are you feeling?" And I'm like, "I'm mad." And she's like, "That's not a feeling
I don't even think you
or an
said
emo."
mad. I
And
don't
I'm
know what
like,
you said.
"What the hell do you mean? That's exactly what I'm feeling." Um, and then I
Anger
had
is
to,
a secondary emotion.
right. And so like the really thing I was feeling was maybe like threatened or inadequate or
Do we have the feelings
overwhelmed.
wheel?
I don't have but like literally the lady had to give me like a tool. She's like, "Here's the feelings. These are actual feelings." Because I just didn't learn to. But now that I've gone through that, which was super difficult and
Mhm.
uncomfortable,
Yep.
is like um, I feel myself feeling emotions that I probably for the most of my adult life shut out
Mhm.
just from learned behavior. So like when Julie was up performing on stage at Joseph
Mhm.
in some of the last moments when I noticed her getting emotional, I started tearing up. I mean, I didn't like full blown cry, but I felt like an emotion that 10 years ago I wouldn't have been able to connect with
Right,
whatsoever
right.
because
Yeah.
I just didn't learn how to even open up to that.
Um, you know, God made us to like with emotions for a reason,
Yeah.
and they're signals to something's going on in your body. And so if we ignore them, I feel like it causes more issues, it causes more problems.
Just like a car engine, check
Like
engine light.
J-
You
was
can't ignore it.
he was perfect.
Yeah.
He had no sin and he cried.
Hmm.
Like he they said
He
that he
wept.
wept when Lazarus died,
Yeah.
and he was weeping because he was like what you were talking about with like
That overwhelm
seeing
of
Julie be
emotion.
emotional.
Yeah.
He got emotional when he saw them crying for their brother. And it's been a journey for us,
Mhm.
but like also having to like help the girls with this because Julie being the oldest, she doesn't like to cry. And when she cries, she feels like it's a weakness.
Or like that she failed.
Because she can't keep it in,
Because she failed because she can't keep it in when actually what she needs to do is
let
let
it
it out.
out. So
Yeah.
Julie tends to have more, she's probably gonna get mad that we're even mentioning this, but um she she tends to have more outbursts. So like she'll keep it in because she struggles with letting it out, and then she'll have just an emotional like out
Yeah.
like
The
over and
pressure
then
builds too much and
and
then
then
she can't.
she feels better afterwards.
Yeah.
So she's still learning, and Jordan and Jenna don't have as much of a struggle with the crying. Like
Mm.
they tend to let the waterworks flow. Jordan's like the complete opposite of Julie. Like she cries all the time, which is great because I'm glad that she is that. And Jenna being the youngest, she's having the hardest time. I feel like now being 11, she's almost 12, and I can't wait for her to turn 12 because 11, I still say is the hardest age with a girl. 11 is the hardest age. So when Jenna turns 12, I'm gonna be celebrating. So I made it through 11. I made it through 11. Um, but yeah, it's been quite a journey helping them navigate emotions. Yep.
Yeah. So
So where else you want to talk about?
we touched a little bit on like our different parenting styles
Yeah.
and I think we've both helped each other in ways like to grow and move towards like a better place. And when I was looking at the notes to prep for this, a couple of things came to my mind about marriage and a lot of popular culture today and in the past, I feel like has been like marriage
Mhm.
is if your marriage isn't making you happy or um, satisfying you all the time,
Yeah.
then maybe you have the wrong marriage, you know?
You need to get
And
out now.
yeah, or whatever, or maybe like there's something wrong with your spouse, or maybe you married the wrong person or
Yeah.
whatever,
Which I do think there's some exceptions.
for sure.
Like
But
always, there always is because I will get that. People will be like, but da 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 da
you
da
can hate on us in the comments if you want.
da.
It's fine. We love you.
Every situation is different. We're just saying that
The vast majority of the time, though, actually what I think is that, especially from a Christian worldview, and I've heard more and more people say this or something like it, is that marriage
Mhm.
isn't to make you happy, it's to make you holy.
Yeah.
And so what that means is you need refining and you
Yep,
need
refining.
challenge and you
Yep.
need to
Yep,
have
absolutely.
conflict and figure out how to resolve it. And I think um, parenting for us has been one of the things that has caused us both to have to
Mhm.
really grow outside of our
Yeah,
comfort
it's
zone and out of our like default mode of
mhm.
thinking and being, you know, because we had different backgrounds, like family backgrounds, but I don't know how much we want to get into this. Both of our parents are tuning in,
I
so
mean, I think we had a lot of similarities, but we just took it differently.
yeah,
You tended to be more like, I wanna do things a little different, and I feel like I tended to be like, I'm gonna do things the same way that was taught to me.
mm,
I do think that we have helped each other in this department. I think that what I was talking about before, like how hard I was on the girls and the yelling and everything, like you have really helped me, and it took some time, but you have really helped me um realize like, why are you yelling? But did that really require you to lose it on them? Like, not anything should, but some of the things that I would yell about, like even a lot of other people would be like, why are you yelling? Like, I feel like I've always been so hard on the girls, and for what reason? Like,
mm,
why did I need to be that hard on them? And what was it helping, you
yeah,
know? And so I've always come more from a very stern parenting viewpoint. I'm like, "You do this, and if you don't do this, this is what's gonna happen, and you are a
this is
little different."
good. This is good.
I'm not gonna
I,
say how you do it, but it's
I,
different.
I, when people are stern with me,
Mm.
I know what kind of reaction it produces inside of me. It doesn't produce critical thinking. It doesn't produce desire to
Oh,
comply or
right,
hear what the
desire to
person is
comply,
saying.
absolutely, yep.
It produces in me anger,
Mhm,
frustration,
mhm,
disconnection,
mhm,
um, lack of feeling of love or care from the other
right,
person, all the things you don't want the other person to receive if you love them.
right,
And it actually, I remember like when I was disciplined hard, and I'm going to say some stuff about people that I don't think will be able to listen to this podcast. As a very powerful analogy for me, which you gave me as an idea last night when we were talking,
mhm,
is my two youth pastors that I had when I was in high school.
mm, okay,
And the one guy was like very tough. Like
mhm.
he came from like a Midwestern background and he was very like,
You do this or this happens,
and
yeah.
then you're like a terrible person if you can't follow the rules. And if you do this or do that,
Right,
then you're like out, like you're
mhm,
dead to me. We can't be around you. Like just, we don't want you.
right, you gotta follow the rules.
And I'm like, well, so basically now this is my instruction manual. These are all the things I'm going to go do just to piss you off
Mhm,
because I don't like the way you talk to me.
yeah,
And so knowing that I had that reaction, and then I experienced a completely different with another guy who came in, Greg Poss. Say, maybe you are watching this.
yep,
He's in heaven now. And
mhm.
that man, I felt like he genuinely cared about me as a
Yes,
person.
yes, he cared about you and
He
how you were
saw me
feeling.
in my sin and my struggle,
Mhm,
and he met me where I was at.
met you where
He
you were at.
encouraged me to do better things, but he accepted me and loved me where I was at and didn't make me feel dirty or like a bad person
For shame.
for shame. And I know I've told you this a million times. I don't think I said this on the podcast before. The time we were at Busch Gardens with the youth group field trip, you've heard this story probably. When I tell it, you'll remember it.
Yeah,
So we're at this thing, and I have a backpack. We're at Busch Gardens, which people in Florida probably have been there, and you know what this is. It's a theme park in Tampa. And we went with the whole church group, and I wandered off from the group. I smoked cigarettes at the time.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the story.
Yeah. So, but I also acted like a gangster. Like I did all kinds of crazy stuff and whatever, but I didn't do that much stuff.
We would not have dated then.
So he finds me, and Greg does. And he's like, hey, some kids said that you had pot. Do you? Like, and we'd like you to come rejoin the group. He's like, look, whatever you have, like, I don't even want to know, but just get rid of it and come back and hang out with us. And I was like, what? Because like the other guy, when he found like the this is going to date me, like the tapes I used to play in my Walkman. When he would,
what's that?
You can Google that, like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, you can Google Sony Walkman. It was like the thing. I would have some very like not positive rap music in this Sony Walkman, and he caught me with it one time, the other guy, and he gave it to my parents, and I got in a lot of trouble because I wasn't supposed to have that. And I hated that guy. Like anytime he looked in my general direction, I gave him a dirty look. I did not like anything he asked me to do. I was doing the exact opposite. And but Greg, same kid, same issue. He loved me where I was at.
Right.
While still at the same time encouraging me like, hey, come into this better world.
Right. Let's make some better, like, and so kind of coaxing you, like, let's make better decisions.
Like he didn't say, hey, go smoke weed and like, what,
this
like
is why you should make those better decisions.
He didn't throw me to the wolves. Like he didn't like search my backpack and interrogate me. And I feel like a lot of youth pastors today would do that. So don't do that if you're listening to this. I might. Could be a whole other episode.
Okay, let's keep going.
He didn't rat me out.
Right.
He got my trust by inviting me in. He still asked me to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But he invited me in and didn't like stick it to me for not being where I really should have been at the time. And so that lesson stuck with me to like how I wanted to be as a person, as a leader in my business, as a parent, as a spouse.
Yeah.
Because I felt those different impacts from those different styles.
Right.
And I was like, I never want to be that person.
Yeah.
That is like just crushing people under my shoe and getting them to like submit to my authority, because it doesn't change the heart. Like you can get compliance.
Absolutely.
And this is my big thing with parenting is that you can get compliance by force when the child is with you and under your roof and control, but they are going to leave your control.
Which a lot of times you think you have it under your roof for their kids.
Correct. But then they're just hiding it better and they're doing it when you're not looking. But even the ones that do get the actual compliance during that time, then they leave you and they have no practice, no life skills on how to make a hard decision, resist temptation, or have a temptation, fail, and try again and not feel like absolute trash. And so that's always been the frame. And we've seen that even lately, like with some of the, like, especially as our kids get older, we talk to them, like see things about how their parents, their friends' parents handle things. And it's like, they don't have that open dialogue and their kid is left to sort through like their parents' expectations and their parents' feelings. And they have a real hard time getting those feelings out. They have nowhere to go to talk about it, how they're really feeling, except to their other friends. Maybe they have great friends.
Right.
Maybe they don't. Maybe their friends are really wise and guiding them well.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not. But the parent's out at that point as an influence. And I think we put a lot of emphasis in the past as parents on hard compliance.
Yep. Absolutely.
Versus heart influence over time. And I will take heart influence any day of the week over hard compliance, because heart influence lasts.
Yeah. I still want the hard
Hard
compliance stuff.
compliance doesn't last. It is what you call not durable. It
I
will disappear the second you disappear.
Right. And I still struggle with it. Like there's times where I'm like, "No, they have to do this, this, and this." And you're like, if you do that, like what are you like the girls aren't they're not going to come to you. They're not going to want to talk to you. They're not like you're pushing them away.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Which
it
isn't what you want.
no, it's not what I want. But so it's been very hard for me to accept that
Mm-hmm.
and accept that it's okay to not be like hard compliant. Like Julie is a very similar personality to me. So I
She
feel
has a
like
default desire for compliance,
right,
whereas not every
she's
kid
a
has that.
people pleaser. She wants to do what you and I ask her to do. So I don't feel like I even have to be that hard on her because she's going to do it. Whereas Jordan has always tended to be more like,
Me.
what do you want me to do? I'm going to do the opposite of that. But I have seen her grow so much in just the past couple of years because we have let up, or should I say, I have let up so much on how hard I am on her and how hard I come down on her. She realizes that she's loved no matter what. Um,
Yeah.
and that's something that we try to reiterate to the girls over and over and over again. If they mess up, if they make a mistake, like our love for you doesn't fade. Um, I think we said this earlier. I don't remember. About like, we probably said this when we were kids too. Like, oh my gosh, if my parents find out, they're
Yeah.
gonna kill me.
They're gonna kill you.
They're gonna
Versus,
kill me.
oh my gosh, that's so good.
And you and I have said we never want those words to come out of our girls' mouth. Now,
I
do
keep
I
telling
think
them I want to be your first call. I don't care if you're in jail. I don't care what it is. I'm never gonna not love you the
right?
same. Like,
Yeah,
call me.
we want to be the girls' first phone call when
Yeah.
they're in trouble,
Yeah.
when they messed up. They want to know like, okay, mom and dad are going to be upset, probably more mom than dad. But but I do think Julie would probably still think that just because she's so hard on herself, but she does still come to us and she's very open discussion with us. She tells us probably more than most 18-year-old girls share with their parents. And I love it. And I
Me
hope
too.
that it continues. And I hope that Jordan and Jenna will feel the same way. Yeah. So it's just been a journey for me to kind of step into a different way of parenting than I feel like naturally, like this is how I want to parent. But to just listen more and really see like how the girls respond because
Yeah.
that's what really matters. Like at the end of the day, what is compliance? Like you got these kids that like they're all in a row and they're like, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, which I hate being called ma'am. The girls call me ma'am. I get so mad. I don't like that. But I want the girls to feel loved and I want them to feel like their home is a safe place.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to like be like, when can I get out of here? Like I can't wait to go to college. I can't wait to get out of this house. I can't wait to like I want our home to be where our girls want to be all the time. And so it's been a growing experience for me.
Yeah. And it's been cool to see some of those things where like Julie has come to us, for example, on things like that happened. I remember something happened with her car where she like scratched it up pretty bad. And she was like really worried, but she came right to me and she told me what happened. And I was like, it's fine. Like, are you okay? And it's fine. The car was fine. Most of it buffed out. It's like no one died. So it's fine, you know?
Yeah.
And that was cool. That was a cool. And I've had to, on the other side of that, try, which I'm still working on this, is with being like enforcing some consequences and having some discipline. That's something that doesn't come naturally to me because I go so far by default to the other side of like, I never want to be that like authoritarian, like
You
person
wanna
who's
be
like
their friend.
forcing hard. It's not even, to me, it's not even about friend. It's about like, I am so resistant to that hard compliance because I know what it did inside of me that I don't want to give that to them, and
Right.
I will fight someone who tries to give that to
Yeah.
them. People know that.
I think, and we won't ever know this, but I think if we had boys, you would have been a little harder on them.
Probably, maybe. I mean, I maybe different. I
Yeah.
maybe different
Yeah.
because I think
You are harder on Julie with her being the oldest, which I've
yeah,
had to help you with. Not
yes,
you're so much better than before, but there was a time where like you were like
that's true.
really hard on her.
Yeah,
And I'd always be like, "Why are you so hard on her?" It's like, "Well, because she's the oldest, and she should do that." Like you put so much more responsibility on her, and I'm like, "She's
that's
still
true.
a kid." So, yeah,
So we've helped each other in that. I think that one of the things when we talked about this episode was I think, and we thought this for the longest time, and even came out in counseling of like, well, you're like, oh, I need him to get over to my way, and I'm like, I need her to get over to my way. And what do we do when we're like at this impasse of like, you want to parent one way, I want to parent another way? And I think probably a lot of parents can relate to that because rarely, I think, do parents like see eye to eye on like how to discipline. And a lot of times one parent just checks out and
yeah,
doesn't like,
that's what I was gonna say. One parent usually checks out, and one
yeah,
parent is held doing all of it. We tried going to counseling about disciplining, didn't go well. Um, and we had one counselor tell us that we basically should just parent separately, I mean, discipline separately. So basically, if something's happening and you start disciplining, I have to step back and let you discipline. And if I don't agree with it, I'm not supposed to open my mouth, even though sometimes I do. But I'm not supposed to say anything. I'm supposed to open my mouth. And then if I disagree, I would come to you later and be like, "Hey, that's not, like, exactly how I would have done it," and then we'll sometimes we'll talk through it and come to it, and some place we'll just agree to disagree. And the same thing with me, I'm disciplining, you're supposed to step back, which you don't always do. It's hard. It's very hard
the
not to
agreeing to
step in.
disagree is a very underused and powerful tool in marriage, not just in parenting.
Yeah. I
Because
just
I
think
think that sometimes you just won't
we're
see things
just
the same way. And like,
I just don't feel like we're ever gonna be eye to eye on this, and I came to the point where I was like, I don't want the fact that we aren't always, because we do agree sometimes, but we aren't always gonna agree to be like one of those things that keeps us from being close and
agree.
keeps us from having a good marriage.
I think we
So
agree more than we ever have, but we don't still agree like
correct.
on a lot.
We've like we said, we've helped each other. I've
Yeah,
helped you, you've helped me, but there's still certain things where I'm like, I would not have handled it that way. And you're like, "Oh, I would not have handled it that way." And so unless it's a really big issue, which we don't have very
too much.
often,
Yeah,
we just like, "Okay, well, that's that." But I think it's very important for the girls to see us both discipline them. Like, because if they just see me disciplining all the time, then they know, okay, you know, he's doesn't care, blah, 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 and vice versa. Like, if you're always on the disciplining, I'm not
well, that's
like,
the danger of like backing out and letting the other parent always be the disciplinary. Because I experienced that especially when I started trying to be more assertive with
mhm,
discipline.
yeah,
They were like, whether they said it or I felt it, they were like, well, is this mommy saying this or is this you? And
mhm,
I'm like,
yep,
no, this is me. Like,
yeah.
I'm telling
Mm,
you, like,
that's
this is what you should do or not do. And that was hard for me because I'm like, dang, like, I left you holding the bag like all those years,
yeah,
which
and
wasn't fair to you.
I think that the discipline mostly fell on me when the girls were young because you
I
were
wasn't home a
working
lot.
so
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
so that I could stay home and be there for them. So it did primarily fall on me. I'm not going to say you never did it when you were there because you did, but it mostly came from me. So now, when you do step in, the girls are kind of like, what?
It's a work in progress.
And they know who to come to when they want things. But I think that's just that they're all a daddy's
It's
girl, and
great sales skills on their end.
they're like, yeah, they are getting better about it, but they know a lot of times not to come to me and ask because I'll say no. I want this. No, you're not getting that. Daddy, can I get this?
That's a lesson. That's a great lesson for new parents. Always ask, did you already ask your mom or did you already ask your dad?
Yeah,
Because they will like they're smart, you know,
yeah.
they will
They know how to turn on that charm,
yeah.
and yeah. Whereas I'm more like, whatever, you're not getting that. So yeah, it's discipline has definitely been one of the I would say at this point, one of the few things that we still are get challenged with, but
Yeah.
I feel like we've gotten to a good place where we've learned, like, it just is what it is. Like, I don't think either one of us are willing to completely comply to the other person.
Yeah.
Um, though we've both made some big changes, which I think is great. I just I don't think it would be right for us to, like, completely, because then
That was a lesson that, um, I wish we woulda learned sooner. I mean, you probably have said that about more than
a
one
few
thing,
times, yeah.
but I think that, like, just as an encouragement to a couple that, like, they're in the thick of, like, "I can't believe my spouse does discipline like this or thinks I should discipline like that," and you feel like it's, like, gonna break you,
Mhm.
just as an encouragement to hang in there, keep talking, try to
Yeah.
see where your spouse is coming from,
Yeah.
see where you can kinda compromise and meet halfway. I had to try to think to ask to myself, like, does Jess have a point here? Am I being too lenient? Or
Right.
is this something that I feel like really convicted, like I should keep doing it the way I was? And it just kind of, both people have to want to do that meeting halfway and
Right.
kind of like concede to, like, it was hard for us both, I think, in different ways to even think about, well, Jess, when she's with them, she can do things this way. And if I'm with them, like, I could do it that way. Like, that was even hard to get my mind around.
Yeah. I don't love it, but I do think it keeps us from fighting unnecessarily
Yes.
because some things are just gonna come to a standstill,
Yeah.
and if you can't just say, "Okay, well, this is just the way it's gonna be," then what? I just didn't want it to continue to be something that we fought about all the time because all we do is talk in circles about it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not changing certain things, and I'm not changing certain
And we
things,
have
and
changed other things. So that's where it's
we
like,
have
you kind of,
compromised a lot in
yeah.
a few areas, probably me more than you, but that's because I was the strict one. Um, but I feel like we've gotten to a good place. I'm not gonna say we never fight about it because we do, but, um,
We fight so much better now, though,
most of the time, yeah,
most of the time. Or even when it doesn't go right, I feel like the repair to
right,
getting
and
close again is so
that's
much better.
something too that the girls have seen. Julie saw us fighting the most,
Well, she
and
was the oldest when it was going on, like at the
she
worst.
got to
So,
a point when did get really bad. She was like, "What? They fight all the time." Whereas Jordan was like crying her eyes out, like, "Mommy and Daddy are gonna get divorced. They're fighting." Julie's like, "No, they're not. They fight all the time."
yeah, that was
Um,
tough because so many of their friends' parents, I mean, I don't know how many there were, but several of them got divorced, and then they would see us fighting like
right,
that, and then they
right,
would get worried. So that was
right.
like,
But
um,
we try to make up in front of the girls.
yeah,
We
and we
like,
both
I'll
try to do it
apologize
in
for
front of
losing
them.
my cool, like, if I
Yeah.
don't, and or vice versa, if you lost your cool in front of me, like, they'll see us apologize to each other,
Hmm.
um, which I just think is a great example for them too with their relationship with each other. We try to help them, like, if Julie screamed at Jordan or Jordan screamed at Julie, like, you have to admit when there's fault, and, Julie and Jordan's relationship has been um, really hard to, navigate, but because 'cause they're just so opposite,
Yeah.
so they just see things completely different, and we've had to help them learn how to respect each other and respect each other's differences, so that they can still love each other well. Because, Julie will say things to Jordan like, "I don't can't believe you do that. Why are you like that? Da 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 da." And Jordan will say the same thing to Julie,
Mm.
like, why are you like that? I don't like that you do that. Like, that's so dumb." Like, they criticize each other for the way that they are, and I try really hard to stop them and help them realize that, like, not everybody's gonna see your viewpoint. So I'm hopeful that because we've helped Julie and Jordan be like that with each other, that's going to help them in life when they come across people in their life like that. If they
Yeah.
have to be around or be in work or environment or whatever with that, like, not everybody's going to think the way that you think and do things the way that you do. And because it's different doesn't mean that it's wrong. So their relationship has been a challenge for sure. But I feel like they're in a better place. I feel like they're closer than they've ever been. S already, upset that Julie's going to college, which I didn't think I'd see that.
They're very close, even though they don't always agree or get along. They're very close, which I think is cool to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
They really love
I
each other.
always when they were real little, before Jenna came along, they were super close.
Yeah.
They were best buds. They were always holding hands, always hugging each other, and then Jenna came along, and it shifted the dynamic of our family, and Jenna became the center of both of their worlds,
Mm.
and they fought over her attention, and so I think for many years, that was a driving force, like, that basically put them up against each other. Not that I did anything, it's just what happened, she was the baby of the family, and everybody wanted her attention. Um, and so it's been interesting. It's been, um, interesting raising 3 girls. Not that we're done, but it's taxing. It's emotional, a lot, a few emotions on a daily basis. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you do it. It's a lot. You do a great job of handling it, but I think that I mean, I don't have boys, but I just think that girls are very taxing emotionally, and just trying to navigate what everybody's feeling and, different days, and it just really just depends on where everybody's at, and it's just hard to figure all that out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been one of the things that annoys me, and I know we've talked about this before, is when people are like, "Oh, 3 girls, like, oh, you have 3 girls? I'm so sorry." And I'm like, I love my girls. I hate when people say that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's definitely, been a challenge, but I think that's part of why God does it, like,
to
I always
refine you, to
right,
make
I
you
always said I wanted 1 girl, and
more
he gave
holy.
me 3. God
Yeah.
laughed, and he was like, "You want 1? I'm giving you 3. You are this is gonna" and I have learned so much about myself,
Yeah.
and
Me
I
too.
now have 3, hopefully, best friends for the rest of my life, which is pretty cool, you know? They say the girls don't go far from the home, so that's kinda that's kinda neat. Um, and it's been a challenge, but it's been something that, I think took me a while to accept, and to come to terms with that, there's a reason why God gave me 3 girls, and I think that just like marriage, parenting refines you, and I don't think that everybody takes that, especially in those teenage years. They don't lean into that and think, what am I learning here about myself too?
Yeah.
As well as like you're trying to parent your kids, but just because you're parenting your kids doesn't mean like what do we know? What do we know? We only know how we were parented, and our parents only know what they were like how their parents parented them. And I don't think anybody ever got it right or has all the right answers. We're just doing it day in and day out, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's what I've tried to be open and honest with the girls about, especially as they've gotten older, is I'm just doing the best I can.
Mhm.
I pray a lot and I ask God for help and I pray with the girls and I just try to guide them and just hope for the best. And I don't think that means that you're gonna get a perfect kid. Just I don't think anybody's, got it all figured out.
There was only one perfect man,
Yeah.
and my name ain't him.
Um,
And so I think, it's beautiful to see where our girls have come,
yeah.
where they're going.
Mhm.
I think counseling has helped us a lot in our relationship and how we even have parented, even though um, we're still kind of on that journey
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
trying to
yeah.
learn and
Mhm.
grow. I think that something that came to my mind just while we were talking in a different way than it has before in my mind, so I'll share this with you and all our listeners, is that like any tool, so like podcasts can be a tool, books can be a tool.
Yeah.
There is, like if you ask a general contractor can I make improvements to my house? They're always going to say yes.
Yeah.
If you ask a counselor, do I need more therapy? They're always going to say yes. And while that may be maybe factually accurate, also sometimes like I feel like there's a season for leaning in and learning and growing because there's a cost to that mentally and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a season of like, okay, now I have to go do the stuff that I learned, and like I don't need to constantly get because I think I heard it somewhere in a sermon about like just venting to know like you're replaying all this like negative thing that you're frustrated and trying to get away from. I think like there can be a good season for that to where you need to like get something out. And then there's a season to where my point in saying all that is I think like counseling has helped us a lot. I was terrified of it because of what I saw it do.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and
I think that just because you go to counseling doesn't mean that you're gonna come out better on the other side. You have to do the
it's a lot
work.
of hard work. And I
It's a
think,
lot of hard work. So you could go and see a counselor, but if you don't do the homework, if you don't do
yeah,
what they ask you to do, you're not gonna
you might as well
change.
not go back
So
because,
I mean, that's what's behind it. You have to do the hard work, and I think with marriage counseling, people they go in there and they just keep pointing the finger at their spouse, thinking, "Well, I came here for you to correct them."
yeah,
And if that's how you go in there, then
that's a tough frame.
you're not gonna come out much better, you know? I'm not gonna say it didn't take a few sessions for me to start pointing the finger at myself.
It's the hardest
Um,
thing to do. Hard for me.
it's hard to hear from somebody else, a counselor, like, point out to you, like,
Yeah.
This isn't good, and you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't do that." And instead of getting defensive, because you're getting defensive with somebody who, like, barely knows you. I mean,
Mm,
they get to know you as you go more, but they barely know you, but they're seeing, like, they see these patterns in people and, you know, by getting me to understand, like, acting this way and doing this, all it's damaging your relationship with your
mm,
husband. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but I know that there was more than one thing that just clicked with me and made me realize, like, I'm gonna lose him if I don't make some changes.
mm,
So, I feel like it started off with myself, and then because I started counseling before you and I started marriage counseling, but I was dealing with my own, like, own personal stuff, and then when we came into marriage counseling, I had to then on top of all that, like, what am I doing, with us? And then that's turned into parenting because it's in all aspects of your life. And I really think the main thing in all of it is being humble. Like, you have to be
mm.
humble and you have to be vulnerable and you have to be
And not
honest.
defensive. Like you have
And
to feel the
defensiveness is
defensiveness
literally the
coming.
worst
It's the
thing.
roadblock to any
Yeah,
relationship, whatever it is.
absolutely.
There's a book called, I'll wrap it up with this because we're going on like an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
But I want people to hear this is that because this ties in with all the themes that we talked about, marriage, parenting, kids, is there's a book which is like not an easy read. I can't remember the author's name, but the book is called Power versus Force. And the basic concept in the book is that um, force is like, I have authority over you. I am going to force my will on you
Yeah.
because I have the tactical capability of doing it because of I'm your parent or I'm your
Yeah.
boss or I'm your principal or
Right.
I'm your
Right.
whatever like the authority position is. You're just going to overpower them.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that's the force in the power versus force. The power is where you actually use love and influence to try to change the person's heart or behavior
Yeah.
much harder, much higher difficulty level because you have to not be defensive. You have to really lean into what's going on in the other person. How can I show up for them that will help move the situation forward? It takes a tremendous higher amount of skill
Mm-hmm.
and patience and
Yeah.
endurance to um, to use power versus force. Force to me is like the easy way out. Like it's like I don't want to do any work. I just want to yell at somebody into compliance and like force them through my power structure to do what I want them to do.
I think I just think it comes more natural to us to just this is what I want. It's a very selfish,
Yeah.
like, I don't care what you want. This is what I
I'm
want. I
right.
always remember
You're wrong.
um, oh,
This is
why? Because I said so.
yeah.
I always hated that growing up. I tried so hard not to say that to the girls, and instead, when they would ask why, especially once they got to a certain age, when they were real little, it's like, how are you gonna explain it? But they got to a certain age and they would ask why, I tried to explain it to them. This is why, because mommy wants you to be like that. Mommy would like you to be nicer to your sister because mommy would like, I try to explain
And it's not
why,
because we
not because
owe
I
them an
said so.
explanation. It's because we're trying to get them to have the critical thinking to
Exactly.
understand what's the reason, because we want them to be able to make a good decision
Right.
at some point and
Yeah.
understand, like, hey, here's how you make a good decision. These are the things that come. And the crazy thing is now, for me, it's, and you probably could relate to this, it's so easy to see that coming, like that defensiveness, like that situation, which I won't go into on here. You'll probably like walk off the set. But there was a situation recently where I engaged some people, and the response I got was to point out my technical inaccuracies from how they viewed it. It was super defensive, and there was no repair to that. Like, it was just defensive. And it actually, like, their force attempt actually made things worse. Nothing good happened.
Right.
So, like, when you're defensive like that, that's all I'm going to say about that. So you don't have to
Mhm.
worry.
What you talking about?
Yeah. Uh-huh. I could share with the
No,
person.
no, no.
But my point in saying that was I saw it a mile away, like from the first response. It was like, oh, let me tell you about where you're wrong. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a great conversation. I'm
Yeah.
super excited about that. Like, yeah, tell me why I'm wrong and how you don't care about anything that I said. It just doesn't move the relationship forward. It doesn't help that person to grow.
Right.
It just makes everything worse when you're defensive.
Yeah.
You know? And so, but like, there's this programming with parenting that is changing now for sure. But historically, it's been like, you can just use like power. Just you're the parent. Like, just
Yeah.
power them. Like,
Absolutely.
you know. So,
But
or
and
force in
something
that
that came
example.
out of that
Yeah.
scenario that you're talking about, was something that I have always been really big on with the girls, which telling them, like, explaining to them is I've always wanted my girls to be advocates for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I've taught them from a very young age, like, if something happened at school with their teacher, with a friend, or like, you go to them and you talk to them, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And Julie's been a challenge with this because she has a similar personality to me where she doesn't want to confront people. She doesn't want to go to people. What if they say this? What if they say that? I don't care. You have to, I kind of pushed her to like, because that's my personality too, is I have a hard time advocating for myself. So we had,
And why is that?
why is what?
Why do you have a hard time advocating for yourself?
I just think that I just didn't learn how to from a young age. Um, I didn't have to, like, other people would do it for me. So I just, and that's and I think it goes with your personality. Like, I think Jordan, it comes more natural. I do have to push her sometimes, but Julie, it doesn't. And so
Yeah.
I've kind of had to push her to be like, you want something, you need to speak up and you need to say something. And so many times she's gone to a teacher and been like, I don't da 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 da, and it's respectful.
Mm.
And the teacher's like, well, I don't care. Da 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 da. Well, at least you tried. But then there's been other times that she's went and they gave it to her. Or they worked with her or whatever. And she's like, oh my gosh. I was like, see, if you wouldn't have went advocated for yourself, you wouldn't have got this. And so to see her advocate for herself
Yeah.
and go to a higher authoritarian, won't say, and just speak respectfully, but
Mm-hmm.
speak like, this is what, and like, I can't, I can't be more proud
I'm very proud of
than
her too.
to
Yeah.
be able to speak up for herself,
Mm-hmm.
to not be scared to speak to people of authority. And I think that that can also come from, like, if your parents are like, boom, 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 and you can't go to your parents because they're so why are you going to go to somebody else?
True.
You know? And so I think that's been a great thing to see, and I'm sure Jordan and Jenna will follow suit and just speaking up for themselves and not to be disrespectful, but just to, I don't not always gonna mommy and daddy aren't always gonna be there to go in and be like, hey, or call the teacher and blah blah blah. Like, I especially when the girls got into middle school, I would tell them, "You email your teacher. You go in, you say something." And then if they come back and say the teacher don't, then I would speak up. But I'd always tell them, "You try first
Mhm.
and you ask first," because and then it's showing them, like, how to advocate for themselves and not always think that somebody else is gonna do it for them. So, I was pretty proud of that.
I was too.
Yeah, that's why I said I think she's ready for college, she's ready for the real world because she doesn't need us to speak for her. She speaks for herself.
She does a
She
great
even though
job with that.
she has a very similar person I always say, like, I see so much of myself in her. She's very similar personality to me. One of the things that I see in her that I always wanted was just to be that, like, strong, like, confident she has. I didn't have that, and I wish I would've. So,
I feel like you have it now.
more so, it but I didn't when I was her age, and I wish I would've, because I just think that being confident in yourself is gonna take you far. So,
True.
yeah.
I have a closing thought swimming in my head, and I'm not sure if I should say it, but
Alright,
I'm
let's
gonna
go.
say it, like, a little bit. Uh, I'm very proud of all the girls on how they self-advocate and how they, um, have learned how to respectfully speak up to an authority figure that has power,
Mm,
but I don't care if they're 18 or 25, like, they're not alone.
yeah,
That's all I'm
well,
gonna say to that.
that's their daddy.
Um, uh,
Uh,
that could be a whole other episode, which my producer's probably about to cut the power cord over there because we're rolling on to like 90 minutes almost.
uh,
But this was a lot of fun.
yeah,
I can't wait to have you back on the Josh and Jess show here,
I hope I didn't say anything too
the Jess and
offensive.
Josh show. I think it was amazing. I'm really glad you
You'll tell me
came
what's
back on. No, I got nothing.
Yeah, it's good. Glad.
Thanks for being here. I love you.
I love you too, babe.
And thank you guys for staying with us on this fantastic episode of the Made to Be Great podcast. And I can't wait to see you back soon. If this helped you and you know someone it could help, please share it with them and leave us a review. Have an amazing day.